All right, Bolts Nation, take a deep breath, because today brings twists, a hot rumor involving a direct rival, a cut that says a lot about roster depth, injury updates that reshape Jim Harbaugh's chessboard, and just to spice it all up, a possibility that could flip Monday night. You won't believe what we've got today, so sit down, drop a like, and let's dive straight into the news. And hey, hit the comments. What call would you make if you could phone the front office right now? Let's start with the whisper echoing in a rival's locker room that if it turns into a shout, changes the entire West. Kansas City is circling the receiver market, and the name popping up is Jawan Jennings of the 49ers. This isn't just a throwaway weekend rumor. The talk gained steam because San Francisco tweaked Jennings' incentives for this season, but he's still headed toward free agency next year. And with Brock Purdy out for a stretch, Mac Jones taking over temporarily, and the Niners trying to avoid a spiral of results, the franchise could indeed consider moving pieces if the tide turns against them. That sets off a double alert for us. First, because the Chiefs are already operating without Rashee Rice for 6 games due to suspension. Second, because Xavier Worthy, their speed jewel, is easing back after missing the opener. The result? Heavy snaps for Marquise Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster back in KC, and Tyquan Thornton, a trio that doesn't yet offer the same chemistry Mahomes had when that attack flowed through dominant receivers. If Jennings lands in Kansas City, he plugs in immediately as that third down WR who wins contested balls and unlocks Reed's middle-of-the-field script. And that matters. On the items, KC rumors around Jennings and the SF contract context. Purdy out, Mac Jones starting, Rice's suspension, Worthy's gradual return, Juju and Thornton on KC's roster. Now breathe and look at our side. Is it worth jumping into this fight? I know a lot of people want aggression, and it makes sense. Our receiver room gained Keenan Allen's veteran leadership. Yes, the Slayer is back home, and Ladd McConkey's juice. That combo gives Herbert reliability on precise routes and quick reads, but the playoffs are decided in the margins, and depth turns to gold in December. Quentin Johnston needs to turn flashes into a run of consistency. Keandre Lambert-Smith and Trey Harris, rookies, are absorbing the playbook and flashing vertical separation. Now picture January, bracket coverage collapsing on Keenan inside, McConkey demanding attention in the short intermediate, and you align Jennings as your traffic specialist. It's option routes, a 3rd and 5 slant, a heavy dig off play action. All of it keeps the chains moving when the clock gets heavy. The price? That's where cap math and short-term betting come in. The question we can't dodge: if Kansas City really pulls the trigger, do we watch from afar or hit the turbo? Letting Mahomes gain a rock-solid 3rd down WR is handing ammunition to a divisional rival at the exact moment the West has reopened. Remember, in our Sao Paulo opener, we beat the Chiefs 27-21 and showed we can set the tempo. Reinforcing now turns a momentary edge into a trend. Keenan Allen re-signed, 27-21 win in Sao Paulo. And there's another factor here. Jennings fits Harbaugh's philosophy. Physical routes, committed perimeter blocking in the run game, and competitiveness at the catch point. Put that in an offense built to squeeze the clock in the 4th quarter, and you've got a gear that matches the coach's identity. What I want to hear from you is a middle-day pick worth a rental that could swing 2 games in January. Drop your take. Because, and pocket this, the next piece directly affects our depth chart confidence. Amid the pre-Monday night whirl, a roster move slipped by that says a lot about what Harbaugh and Joe Hortiz are building. Jalen Reagor, a former first-rounder back in 2020, was released from the practice squad via injury settlement. It's not just a big name leaving, it's a clear thermometer for depth and coaching conviction. Reagor flashed last training camp, even earned a 1-year deal, but didn't win the final battle for the 53. Now in 2025, the injury settlement cut reinforces 2 messages. First, the staff isn't keeping vets for their pedigree. Second, the kids are pounding on the door. Keandre Lambert-Smith has won the coach's sight for his field-stretching ability. Trey Harris, a physical presence, can fight at the catch point. And keep this name the Bolts community is already tossing around. Luke Grimm, undrafted, remains on the practice squad and reads option routes as well as anyone. That forces defenses to play honest underneath and open space for our heavy personnel play action. Reagor cut confirmed, Lambert-Smith and Trey Harris on the radar, Grimm on the PS. What does that mean in practice? The WR room has stopped being a maybe and turned into a real competition, with guys earning practice snaps and applying positive pressure at the top of the rotation. There's also a psychological ripple we feel in the stadium. When the offense knows it has 3 or 4 trustworthy options in the progression, the ball comes out fast, and the tempo doesn't dip on the second series. That's how it went at Marumbi against the Chiefs. A varied plan, Herbert distributing, and protection holding up just enough for us to hunt the right matchup. Add Keenan Allen's return, an emotional and technical guide, and Ladd McConkey, who already understands spacing like a veteran, and the snap battle becomes fuel. It's the kind of detail that turns a 10-7 season into 12-5. And tell me you don't love seeing the front office play it cold. Cutting early, opening space, and keeping a young pipeline pushing the top. That's how culture sustains itself. Of course, there's a human side. Ryegor's a talent with legit tools, and healthy can still find a role elsewhere. But the locker room question is different. Who delivers on Sunday? And by the signs, the Chargers trust the internal answer. If a market opportunity pops up like the Jennings chatter, they'll weigh cost and immediate impact. If not, the bet is on chemistry already forming. My read, Harbaugh wants 5 guys who block on the perimeter, convert third downs, and read hot when the blitz hits. We already have 4 like that. The 5th could come from within, or from the other locker room in the Bay Area. And that wasn't even the most surprising part of the day. Now to the point that impacts Monday's game plan and the security of our secondary. Elijah Molden. On Thursday, he showed up limited with a muscle issue, but Friday brought the update we didn't want. DNP. Yes, a downgrade. Harbaugh was blunt, something happened in practice. The staff is monitoring it, and the status update comes Saturday. Translation for anyone tracking the tactical plan: get ready to adjust how you use Derwin James and prepare for depth chart rotation with Tony Jefferson and RJ Mickens ready to absorb snaps. This is where having a cauldron full of ready players matters. Tarheeb Still, our rookie from Maryland, bumped up to full participation, and Delshon Phillips went from DNP to limited, 2 arrows up on the same day. The only truly delicate case remains Denzel Perryman with a high ankle sprain. You know the script. It's usually a 4 to 6 week window. Molden, limitation setback, and DNP. Harbaugh noting something happened. Jefferson and Mickens as options. Still full. Perryman 4-6 weeks. Phillips limited. How does that change the field? If Molden can't go, Derwin can toggle even more between slot and box, the stuff that drives offenses nuts. One snap, he's glued to the tight end. The next, he's screaming into the A-gap on a sugar blitz. Without Perryman, second-level communication has to be flawless. Troy Dye figures to get volume, and youngsters Marlowe Wax and Junior Colson may appear in specific packages. The good news is the front has vets who steady the line. Khalil Mack remains the edge pressure leader. Tuli Tuipulotu has grown a ton, and Bud Dupree adds trustworthy depth. 3 pieces that set the edge and force the QB to climb, where the interior can finish. Against a Raiders offense that relies heavily on rhythm and play action, that's exactly the build you want. Mack and Tuipulotu as pillars, Dupree on the roster, likely LB snap distribution. And speaking of the Raiders, a wave of injuries in Vegas opens a tactical window for Los Angeles. Brock Bowers, an all-pro as a rookie, yes, living legend, is dealing with a knee issue, has missed 2 straight sessions, and is a legitimate question for Monday night. Without Bowers, the Chargers can adjust away from automatic doubles in the middle. Free Derwin for more aggressive roles, and trust that Michael Mayer, talented as he is, doesn't create the same panic on 3rd and long. There's more. Right guard Jackson Powers Johnson hit the report with a concussion and didn't practice Friday. If he doesn't clear protocol, their interior loses strength and communication. That's exactly where smart pass rush stings. And even with Geno Smith fitting nicely into Pete Carroll's system, the game changes if interior pressure shrinks, reads, and strips away 12 personnel play action, a package they used a lot. All of it adds up to that get-right game feel for our pass rush in obvious passing situations. Bowers' situation, all-pro status, consecutive DNPs, Powers-Johnson concussion, 12 personnel usage with Geno, tactical impact. But heads up, a favorable setup doesn't hand you execution. Geno is experienced, gets the ball out fast, and with Chip Kelly steering new ideas in the Raiders offense, this game demands disciplined zone and sure tackling at first contact. Without Perryman, every pursuit angle becomes vital. And if Bowers plays at the edge of his limits, the plan has to be ruthless. Contact at the line, reroutes with physicality, and help inside on 3rd and medium. Like cerebral football. This is the kind of game where a simple exchange of responsibilities between nickel and safety can erase an entire sequence of the opponent's script. And let's be honest, after holding Mahomes on a global stage, this defense enters with swagger. What do you want to see? Pressure with 4, or an extra dash of blitz to speed up Geno's decision-making? Tell me in the comments. To tie it all together, remember the Chargers have already shown who they are this season. That 27-21 in Brazil wasn't a fluke, it was an identity portrait. Physical team, runs when it must, communicates with Herbert in the huddle, and doesn't flinch on the big stage. With Keenan Allen back, you have a tempo maestro with McConkey, a metronome of separation. With the defense adjusting pieces even with injuries, a unit that produces answers. The front office is playing chess. It moved on from Ryegor because it trusts the pipeline. It's watching for opportunities, like a WR who could fall into their lap if the Bay Area decides to turn the page, and it believes that in big games, we impose our script. And while we're buzzing about all this, hold this final note on the other side. Kansas City could become the market headline at any moment. If that happens, what do you want the Chargers to do? Attack, match, or trust what's in-house? Keenan Allen returned, win over the Chiefs, identity reinforced. So let's close with the heart racing. Monday is a statement game. If Bowers doesn't go, the obligation doubles. If he guts it out, it's a toughness and communication test. On our side, we monitor Molden to the last minute, set the rotation with Jefferson, and Mickens ready, use Still as a confidence barometer, and lock down the middle without Perryman. On offense, Keenan and McConkey set the rhythm. Johnston gets a chance to silence critics, and the rookies prove they can handle the moment. And if the front office hits the market button, may it be to shape January. Now, tell me, would you tweak the roster right now, or wait until after Monday night to get the full picture? If you like the breakdown, hit like, subscribe, share it with your Bolts crew, and come back tomorrow. Because here we don't just root, we understand the game.